on the road. We are here today, this evening, to talk about Parks and Recreation Subcommittee. We're meeting here at 6 o'clock this evening. We're here this evening at the request of Mayor Elliott and Councilor Bill Martin, who jointly created this motion to refer this to us. Councilor Martin is on the board of the Lowell Parks and Conservation Trust. With us this evening is Jane Calvin. Jane Calvin is the Executive Director of the Lowell Parks and Conservation Trust. She is the protector and preserver of Lowell's natural assets. So she is Mother Nature in the Lowell area here. And we have Diane Tradd. Diane Tradd is the acting director for the planning department and the assistant city manager. And we have Patty Lutkin. She's the asset manager in the planning department. And we have Dave Beatty, engineer from the Greater Lowell Engineering Associates. With us as well, besides my colleagues on this subcommittee, John Leahy and Danny Rourke, but we also have City Councilor Bill Samaras as well. So we're here because of this joint dual motion, and with us is City Councilor Bill Martin. Oh, but before I begin, let me please call the roll, sorry.
Chairman Mercier.
Here.
Council Leahy. Here. Council Rock. Here. That's 3 present.
So I hope I don't have to repeat that all again. Who suspends the rules and allow that I don't have to say it all again? That's great. I would like to recognize Bill Martin, City Councilor Bill Martin, as one of the authors of this motion that brought this before the subcommittee. Bill?
Thank you, Councilor. And as you mentioned, I'm a longtime board member at the Lowell Parks and Conservation Trust, which has long been an advocate, as you said, for many of Lowell's natural resources, but in particular for the Concord River. We've run whitewater rafting trips down the Concord River for many years. We formerly ran a kayak race. We've had Olympic class competitors in our kayak race. And we've been an advocacy group in trying to promote more increased use of the Concord River. Jane Calvin is the executive director of the trust, and she's been at the forefront of those efforts. And one of those efforts has been to establish a greenway along the Concord River. And that sort of effort ties in with the whole wider Bay State Circuit Trail, which has some gaps, particularly here in Lowell. And we've secured some funding for that. I know Diane Tradd and Patty Lutkin, Dave Beatty, their work is finally, I think, coming to fruition. Mayor Elliott had met with Jane and received an update, and he was excited about what's happening and the work that's imminent, and thought it might be a good idea for the entire council to be brought up to date. So that was sort of the idea behind this meeting. So appreciate all the efforts, Jane's efforts, and Diane and Patty and Dave and the efforts of the other councilors. So we appreciate your willingness to meet on this issue, appreciate your time, and I'm looking for, I know some of the details, but not all of them, but I think it would be good for the entire council to just learn the work that's been done to date and what's about to happen. So it was really just sort of an informational update type meeting. I think that's what the mayor was looking for, and I was happy to play a small role. So thank you for your time this evening, and hope to become enlightened just like the rest of us.
Well, thank you very much, Bill. That was very informative, as it is, and this is the purpose that we're here. I know that a lot of work went into the river walk along the Merrimack River. This is to complement the Concord River now. It would be a $1.3 million grant, I believe, that was gotten, and this river walkway would be down along Lawrence Street all the way to Andover Street and Church Street, but I'm just surmising, so I want to hear from we'll hear from you, Diane. First, let me ask you, do my colleagues have any questions so far? Okay, Diane Trad, thank you. Is there a green button on there? Is there a green light?
Now there is.
Okay, thank you.
I thought my voice was loud enough without this.
Well, I could hear you fine. I don't know about if they heard you at home, but we won't make you repeat it, but you did a great job. I want the public to know that.
So Jane, if you want to just give a brief overview. I know you could talk all night about this because you're passionate about the project, but a brief overview would be great.
I can be brief. Thank you, Diane, and thank you, councilors. We really appreciate your time tonight in learning about the project. So Bill already spoke quite eloquently about the trust, but we are an environmental group in the city. We are a land trust. We do hold land throughout the city. We are actually one of the few urban land trusts in the entire country, and we are about to become accredited this fall. As Bill mentioned, we do have a lot of programs on the Concord River, including a lot of environmental education programs, even anadromous fish programs on top of what Councilor Martin mentioned. And we do have a very active after-school program, 4 days a week in 2 different locations, working with first grade through seniors in high school and on up. We actually, we do own the Spalding House as well, so we are somewhat involved in historic preservation. That's the 1760 home that's at the corner of Pawtucket and School Street. And we also have, of course, an urban forestry program that the council's been supporting us generously through CDBG grants as well. We're also recognized for helping with Kittredge Park, Jolene Dubner Park, Coburn Park, some other city parks that we have a role in as well that some might not be aware of. So the Greenway has been a vision of the board of directors of the trust for well over 30 years. We're a 25-year-old organization. Next year will be our 25th anniversary. And the trust, but we received our first grant from the EPA in 2000 for doing some of the public outreach and raising awareness about the asset of the Concord River. A lot of people don't even realize that we have 2 major rivers flowing through the river, through the city. Most can see the Merrimack, but not the Concord. So the status of the Greenway right now, and let me mention that I really see our role as being a catalyst on the project. The city is really taking the lead. They've been fantastic. We see ourselves as helping leverage that community support, leveraging those value-added pieces. There's some multilingual signage in front of you that's in 4 languages that's throughout the Greenway. We have an outdoor classroom. We've helped raise significant funds for the Greenway. We raised the initial funds for the conceptual plan and all the public art along the Greenway. So we really do hope to make it more of a destination kind of trail. The Greenway that I'm speaking of specifically is from downtown Lowell by the auditorium all the way out to Lawrence Street at the former entrance of the Lowell Cemetery. That's the section that we're focusing on tonight. But to give you the bigger picture, it is part of the Bay Circuit Trail, which is a 200-mile trail that roughly follows 495, very roughly. So we can go all the way from the North Shore to the South Shore. You can walk 200 miles through 50 communities, but there's a gap in Lowell, and it's a significant gap. And it was just called out in the Lowell in the Globe North. You have an article in your packet, and you can see a significant gap through Lowell. We'd like to help close that gap. If you walk from, there are connections to this trail. If you walk behind the Lowell Auditorium, you can actually walk along the Merrimack River all the way to Lawrence. You have to go around the golf course, but you can actually walk all the way to Lawrence. That's part of the Bay Circuit Trail. That's one end of the Greenway and how it connects to the Bay Circuit. If you are at the other end of the Greenway at Lawrence Street by the Lowell Cemetery, you can and imagine sort of an imaginary line all the way through the city's cemeteries over to Cross Point. That's where you could pick up the Bruce Freeman Trail. There's 8 miles of that done. That will eventually be a 25-mile trail that'll go all the way to Framingham. So I hope that gives you a big picture of how the trail will connect with other regional trails and its importance And I could go on and on about the public health benefits. We talk to people all the time on these trail, when we're out there, on the formal and informal parts of the trail. They're getting to work via alternative, sometimes, often by foot. So it's an alternative means of getting people to work as well, and it does connect neighborhoods that have otherwise been divided by the river. So I'll leave it at that. I'm happy to chime in a little bit later about some of the other pieces that have been part of the trail. But again, we couldn't ask for a better partner in the city to be able to do this. It's been a great partnership for several years. They've put up with me very well. And I can't wait to see this next section completed. I'll pass the baton.
Great. Well, we are very, very excited to finally be moving forward with this project. There have been many challenges along the way, property ownership issues, environmental issues, but let's focus on the positive. We have just put out to bid Section 3A West, which is the gray line that you see on the top that was provided by our engineers. It will begin at Jolene Dubner Park, go down to the river.
Do you want me to point?
Yeah, sure. And then you walk along the river to Centennial Island Apartment Drive. It is slated to continue through the apartments, but at that point where Jane just passed, we are waiting for an easement. We've been working with Centennial Island apartment owners on an easement for quite some time now, and we're hoping to be able to finish that up very soon. But we've decided to take this in two pieces, and we're going to go ahead and construct this piece while we're waiting for the easement to come through. So it will be a walkway along the river. It's a beautiful, beautiful stretch of river, great views. One of the challenges we had when we had our engineers go out to the site was that there was a huge problem with encroachment, dumping, illegal infill, and I've placed some pictures in your packet. It was pretty bad, and so we had DPW head out there and clean up. We have spent a lot of time working with the property owners. I was just told today that there's been a lot of headway in them moving some of the debris. They've actually, their property lines are pretty far up close to their homes, and all the rest of it is city-owned property. So most of the dumping has been going on city-owned property. So we have worked with them. We're encouraging them to support the project, which they all do. And the Back Central Neighborhood Group has always supported the project. So they're working with us now, and that's what we want. We want it to be a friendly, cooperative environment. And they're excited about the project. But there have been some dumping issues that we have had to deal with. We have not ticketed anyone at this point for violations, but we're just hoping that we can continue the good efforts together as a team.
I just have a question that I just thought of. Along the Concord River, and let's say down by Lawrence Street, you're going to make the walkway on one side of that, not both sides of the river, right?
Right. We're now on the other side of the river.
Right.
We crossed the river, and that bridge has not been built yet. That will be built. We have some other property ownership issues and some easements with Centennial Island Hydro.
I want you to know that I have been called to go to the area along the Concord River, and a lot of homes are owned by Portuguese people, and I'll tell you that a lot of that land, they encroached on city property, and when they did, they have it magnificent there. Some put up walls to stop the water from coming in as it rose and flooded their basement. They put up walls. Be that as it may, they're going to lose that, but it isn't their land, and they understand that, and they're very excited about this walkway. I think that after all is said and done, if we could reward them to some degree and offer them to buy, sort of like the yard sale program, that dead land that the city we should make a tally of all the land that encroaches their property and allow them to buy it back. We are, going to put the money on the tax roll. They will have clear legal title to that land that abuts that walkway, I think that would be a great thing, and they look forward to that if it could possibly happen. I'm not saying that I can make it happen, I can't, but that in the future is something we should look at. And the people are tremendous over there. They took an area of the city that was in disrepair and they made it so spectacular. So I just want you to keep that in mind about that. So my next question is, when will we start? I know that you're doing the preliminary things of trying to acquire, get an understanding with the people along that route, and it's going to be magnificent. I personally feel we have many jewels in the city. We have educational institutions that are jewels, no doubt about it, but we got a hidden jewel in the river walkway, in the rivers, in the Concord River that is hidden, and we don't want to hide it. This is magnificent. I'm excited as you are. Not that I can walk. I might take a bike and go down there, but it'll be really a good thing. So I thank you for all your work. Do we know when we're going to start, and do we have any idea about a finish time? I know I'm asking the impossible. Is there a time frame or something?
The project is going out to bid now.
Okay.
And we're hoping to complete everything in October. The line that you see in that top should be done in October.
When you say the project is going out, it encompasses how long? Is it in miles? Is it like, how many miles? Would it be any type of mileage? Like, we're doing 3 miles, the walkway, the Concord River Greenway is 2.4 miles or whatever. I don't know. Do we have a figure?
The entire greenway is 1.75 miles, okay? This will be a short segment from the Centennial Island housing down to Dubner Park. If I can, I'd like to back up and just let you know the 2 sections that are already complete, because due to the issues that Diane mentioned, we've had to take it, an alternative approach. The section that is complete is at the Lowell Cemetery. There's a gateway there at near the Lawrence Street entrance to the Lowell Cemetery.
Oh, yes.
Right at the Concord River. There's a beautiful gateway with some public art, a small parking area as well. You can walk the entire length of that all the way down to a gate at Bradford Industries. At that point, you'll see a little cutout, and that's where a bridge will cross over to Centennial Island. And the trail will follow Centennial Island down through city land, and with the support of an easement from Centennial Hydro. They've been fantastic partners on this. And then they have a tail race for their hydro plant, and a bridge will be built across that to connect with this. So that's the second phase of the fund, the use. Well, that'll be the next phase of the use of the funding that the city has now. So the section that's complete is the Lawrence Street end, what I call the Lawrence Street Gateway. And then the other section that's done is the one that's downtown. So you've all probably parked in the Davidson Street parking lot across from the auditorium. There was a brownfield there with purple ooze, and there was a 16-foot overhang that people used to park on that was badly degraded and structurally unsound. There is now a park along the edge of that. Water used to sheet flow from all the car waste and such would sheet flow right into the river, nothing stopping it. Now there's actually park land that's been added to the Davidson Street parking lot area. So there's a wonderful green strip along the entire edge of that parking lot with a rain garden, so the rain actually infiltrates in before it hits the river. So that section is done as well. So from behind what used to be the Middlesex Cyber Cafe, all the way up to the senior housing in the red brick building at the far end of that parking lot. It's quite a distance there. There's public art with bird bollards and a long text fence, as well as this multilingual signage as well. So those are the 2 ends that are complete, and this is a section in between. So this will be done in October. The timeline's in front of you in the front of the packet that Patty handed out. Okay. And then the section that'll be done right after that are the 2 bridges across the Concord to connect with the Lawrence Street section. Following that is a section along National Grid's property.
And when you talk about the section by Jolene Dubner Park, you're meaning Rogers Street? You're meaning Rogers Street?
Yes, at Rogers and Merrill Street. That's right.
That's right,
Really, it's just the houses right behind Merrill Street at the back of.
yes. So, David, you want to come up here and take a seat and, because you're just as important as the ladies. I know we did Women Working Wonders and Women Across America, but I would invite you to sit up here as well and put on the green. So you're an engineer in this project? Yes. Oh,
This section is only 725 feet long, plus or minus, roughly. An 8-foot wide walkway.
8 foot wide. So we're not saying bicycles down there, no? No,
You
it's
can't-
like it's a walkway, right?
Bicycles can certainly travel on
Bicycles
it.
can. Too bad they, with people my age, would like a bench every so many feet so we could sit down.
We'll
but
have
anyway.
benches.
There are already benches on the parts that are built already.
It's beautiful, thank you. Thank you very much. Any of my colleagues? Yes.
The 8 feet is to make it ADA compliant? That's the reason for the 8 feet, because to make it ADA compliant?
We just actually tried to follow the previous section scope, and we did have some issues with the width of this as we did cross by the hydro plant to get to Centennial, the Centennial Apartments. There's not a lot of property over there for this bridge to abut the other side. So 8 feet, I think, is the maximum we could have over at that side.
Thank you.
Councilor Leahy?
Thank you. Well, it sounds like it's going to be spectacular. So just so people at home know, which side of the river is this on? This is on
It's on the west side of the river.
So that'd be Lawrence Street side?
It's on the Lawrence Street side, correct?
Okay. And then how does it eventually cross, does it cross over to which side of
Okay, so
Davidson Street?
Okay, so you want me to go north
Yeah.
to Davidson Street?
Yeah.
So if you were to get off at Dubner Park, okay, you'd actually cross the Rogers Street Bridge on foot.
Okay.
Then you'd
And
cross.
you go back down?
Exactly, but, so on the other side of the river, on the opposite side of the river is all National Grid land. And they've been cooperative with us in working on the design and are interested in working with us on a long-term lease. I say liberally, I mean the city, the lease would be with the city officially. So that it would follow the top of Bank all along the National Grid property down to Andover Street.
Okay. All right, great. Thank you.
Thank you, Jane. Okay,
So, I'm
okay.
sorry, thank you, Madam Chair. The pictures that we have here in the packet, is that what's out to bid right now, this area?
Yes,
Okay.
yes. And I did want to make one thing clear. We'll be dealing with the debris issues and encroachment at this point only as it affects the pathway of the greenway. The city land goes much, much further up closer to the houses, and we're not going to deal with all of that right now.
Oh,
Once
no.
this project is
I know
done,
that.
then we can deal with some of that.
Sure. I'm not saying now, I'm saying
Yeah.
later. I'm sorry, go
Okay,
ahead.
so the city would be in charge of cleaning up first, and then,
Yes, and a lot of that has been cleaned up, but those were the conditions we were faced with when we first started going out there. It was pretty bad.
yeah, all right, thank you.
Can I ask one more?
Yes.
Just as far as I don't want to make a big deal out of the cleanup, but why are we not cleaning it all up at once? I'm just thinking it might be easier to get rid of that all at once.
We are cleaning it, but we're not dealing with the encroachment issues as much right now. We are cleaning, in fact, most of it has been cleaned, and as I said, the neighbors have moved stuff off of what they thought was their property, but
okay.
is actually city property.
But it'll be pretty much, when the walkway's done, we're not going to be looking over and
Oh,
seeing.
no,
Okay.
right.
Oh,
It's
all right.
mostly the ownership issues that we're going to have to look at some different options and some legal issues with that, because there are decks built on city property, there's
Oh, I see.
stone
yeah.
walls, there's a lot of things.
Okay. So maybe what Councilor Mercy was talking about, maybe we can work
That would
out
be
some
considered.
agreements, yeah.
Yes,
Right.
that'd be nice.
I think if we went out today, I was just told that someone was in my office and said that they were out there today, and they have seen good headway with cleaning, so I don't think it looks like that anymore.
All right, thank you.
We didn't see any camps, homeless camps or anything, did we?
No, they weren't homeless camps. People were just recreating in that area with benches and tarps and
Picnic tables,
picnic
fishing.
tables, fishing.
It's, I have never, in all my years in the city, I've never seen a homeless on that side of the river. It's all owner occupied or rental back there, and
I did see some humongous trees that fell down. That's going to be such a task to get those out of there.
We also had a lot of trees on city property removed by people who thought they were on their property, which is
Yeah.
unfortunate, but
Yeah.
we're going forward.
Yes, Councilor Lay.
So when we do a project like this, when you do a project, do you partner up with different people? Do any of the tree service companies in the area, do you reach out to them and maybe they want to be part of this and they might help with?
We haven't, but that's probably a good idea. We haven't done that
Okay,
yet.
because I'm just thinking like when we did the chambers over, we got a lot of people that wanted to be part of the project. So something like this, this is a great project and it could be, it probably will be nationally recognized. So to have your name to that, we could probably reach out to as many people as we could use, whatever it is.
there's actually a lot of national attention on this project already. It's the state's #1 priority for a recreational trail.
Yeah.
And I just spoke in Pittsburgh on Sunday morning about this project as an example of an urban greenway. I was at the table with folks from New Orleans and Milwaukee, and I'll be speaking in Providence at the national, this weekend was the National River Rally, and in September, it's the National Land Trust Rally, and I'll be speaking in Providence then. So fortunately, we've had many opportunities to do that, and that's because the project has so many diverse elements to it. If you go on the Bruce Freeman right now, they didn't have, because of their funding source, they didn't have the opportunity to include amenities right off the bat. And we've been really fortunate to be able to do that and include the benches. And if you look at the artwork, it's artwork that was really well thought out, that it was built into the infrastructure of the project. So it's not meant to be, artwork that adds to the city's burden of artwork, but the bollards, necessary bollards to block traffic have native birds on top of them. The fence has this long Thoreau quote. So it's not meant to be in your face. It's kind of like to let the river speak for itself. And if you go on the Bruce Freeman, they're now fundraising for that kind of stuff. And to add those. And so we've been really fortunate that the city's been willing to work with us on building those amenities in right away. It's not the easiest thing to do. It is not the easiest way to do it. And that's made this project more complicated, but I really believe this will be more like a destination kind of project. We still have public art pieces that are completed that have not even been put on the trail, as well as 3 other signs that are just sitting in storage.
Excellent.
Very good. Councilor Samaras? Oh, Councilor Martin?
I just wanted to add, since there's been a little bit of talk about funding, is that most of the funding on this is all through state grants primarily. So no real city money in this project at all. So that's another testament, I think, to the DPD staff is seeking out and finding the grant funding available to do this.
The state has been a wonderful partner in this, and as Jane said, they have chosen this as a priority project, and they've been very patient because we have run into some obstacles, and they've extended time for us, but they are fully backing this project. So the city's very lucky to be getting those funds.
Patty? You're all set?
We're all set, we're on track. We put the project out last Friday to bid. Hoping it'll be done by October or earlier, if we get lucky. So we're on track with this section, and we're looking forward to the next section.
Well, I think that we would have another subcommittee to enhance all the tremendous work that everybody has done. So we're going to have another subcommittee. We'll give a report on this at the next city council meeting, but we also want to have an update as you're almost done with the project and get people excited. So that'd be a good thing. So you're doing a tremendous job. We're very, very proud. And you're uncovering nature's beauty is what you're doing, and the city of Lowell is fortunate to have such a jewel in the city. So, Jane, I know that we go back a long ways to the early 2000, year 2000, and I called you 2,000 trees for 2000 for the year 2000, and I called you the tree lady. You have been graduated and upgraded to Mother Nature, Lowell's Mother Nature. How's that? Okay?
And this is public and televised?
Yes, it is.
Everybody heard that.
So thank you very much. Any further questions? Anything else you wanted to add? I think you did spectacular. Thank you very much, and we'll be meeting again as it nears to that time, perhaps some September or whatever, so that we will know all about it more and anticipate the final unveiling of it. So maybe the council can take a walk all down
I think
through
that would be
there.
a great
That'd be
idea.
fun. Because I do want to say one thing. Many years ago, before you were probably even here at City Hall, my son was 18, and he came home and he said, "Ma, we want to go whitewater rafting." I said, "It's 4 o'clock in the afternoon. We can't go to Maine right now." We'll never make it. It'll be too dark. He said, "No, we're going to Lawrence Street." I said, "And where?" "In Lowell. We're going to Lawrence Street. There's rapids there." I said, "How are we going to do that?" But I didn't want to show him how afraid I was to do this, because I wanted him to be proud of me. So he said, "Come on, you and Dad and my friends, we're going on this raft. We got a raft." So we went to Lawrence Street. We got on the raft. I went to take my shoes off. He said, "No, you leave your sneakers on." I said, "Leave my sneakers on, they'll get soaking wet." He said, "Well, you don't want to hit your feet on the rocks." I said, "What?" Well, anyways, he said, "There's 4 rapids, and as you go along, it gets easier, so don't worry, Ma." So we get in there, we sat on each end, and we're moseying along, and the first raft was so unbelievable, I almost fell off the raft and got soaking wet and went underneath. He said, "Oh," and I was frightened like you wouldn't believe. He said, "Remember what I told you about it? It gets easier each time. I made a mistake. It gets more powerful each time." I said, "Get me off of here." But it was amazing, and we went all the way down. It was a thrill that I'll never forget. We went all the way down underneath the bridges that we usually went across. We went down, and we ended up by the Lowell Memorial Auditorium. Behind it, it was just amazing. I never forgot it. I was shaking like this, but it was a thrill. So I was doing that long before we even knew about it. So, I mean, it's just a remarkable experience. So I want to thank you very much for being here this evening. Thank you for taking your time to come here. Well, I'll make sure that we do a great presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you for inviting us.
Yeah,
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Motion to
Motion to
adjourn.
adjourn, seconded by Councilor Leahy.
Sure.
All those in favor signify by saying aye. All those opposed, motion carries. We're all set.